How the heck are you, everybody? I'm Fastidious and welcome back to my channel. As you can see from your screen, not only are we on the Fastidious test server, this is the test server, but I'm also not alone. I'm joined by the fantastic WoRGuides, who now not only is a big streamer in the game, but has been putting out tons and tons of quality content on YouTube as well. You want to say hi, WoRGuides?
Was good. Yeah, again, we are back on the Fastidious channel, and as you might have seen, I've put out my most favorite video to date, which was the Torador trick. You might have seen it. If not, be sure to check that one out. This is quite ridiculous how we were able to bait Torador and turn this fight into an absolute joke.
Awesome. Yeah, and I still need to watch the video, so I'm definitely going to check that out. But I can say and speak to WoRGuides' Nightmare Void Rift expertise, because he came by when I just beat it for the second time yesterday, but when I beat it for the first time, he came by the stream and he had some great tips. So pretty cool stuff. Definitely go check that out, guys. However, we're on the test server for a reason, and that is to talk about this. I'm going to put a picture on the screen right now, and you can see, obviously, all the Black Friday, Thanksgiving craziness just arrived in-game this morning at reset. And one of them was this Black Friday deal thing they're talking about with the amazing stuff that you're going to have the opportunity of having the pleasure of giving them cash for, if you're so inclined. But one of the things you can see, there's 3 heroes in this picture, in this promo, that you might not recognize. Now, I'm going to give you a disclaimer right now. WoRGuides and I are going to be pretty darn speculative. It's not confirmed that these guys are. It's not confirmed that these guys are going to be on the ancient banner we have coming this weekend. However, in the past, when they do feature heroes like this, it is for a reason. I'll put another picture on the screen right now. You can see we just had a ancient summoning with this 10x for Leia and Gon, and we have another ancient summoning coming already in like 4 days, right, dude?
Yep, that's ridiculous. That's like the biggest bait they've done by far, because everyone believed ancients were once a month. That was the rule since like time immemorial, since Forerunner servers. But now they changed the game. They changed the way it's played, huh?
No rules when it comes to Black Friday, apparently. And you can see from that picture, there is no 10x featured. And as you just said, man, it has to be a bait for something. So something must be coming. And we're here to speculate that it could be the addition of the 3 remaining double Legendaryy Lords in the game.
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
Also, guys, we wanted to do a mini little study, a mini project, and if you're a spender, you can really help us with this, right? So we proved that the epic drop rates are uneven. However, we have a nice little opportunity coming in here. You can see with this Thanksgiving preview, they have this big spender pack, right? It's unclear exactly how this is going to work, whether you can get both of these cards or one or the other. We don't know yet, but WoRGuides and I were chatting about this. And I'm very curious if the drop rates, the distribution, not counting the Lords, but the other 4, so the other 4 Northerners you can get, the other 4 Piercers, are going to be an even distribution. So if you're unaware, these cards give you a random legendary of these 5 listed. I think presumably the Lord should be rarer, but then you would think if the rates are even, there's no reason you shouldn't have the same chance of getting Nocturne or Sadie or Hex or Absin, right? Or Silas or Absin, or Razak. But do we think that's going to happen? I don't know. You let us know your thoughts, WoRGuides, and then I'll explain exactly what I want people to do.
We gotta see there's always the bottom line, right? People say the fun stops when money gets involved, right? It is a pack you have to pay money for, and do they cross the bottom line? Do they fix rates even for packs that you buy with real money?
Yeah, I think we have a rare opportunity here, guys, and I realize not everyone's going to buy this. Like, I'm not going to buy it. I don't know. You think you're going to buy this pack, WoRGuides? The price is right?
It depends. I might do one for the test. I might do one myself.
He's committed to the study, everybody. So if you are a spender, no pressure to buy it. But if you do buy it, it'd be amazing. I will set up a channel on my Discord, so look out for that. You'll hear more about this on my Discord later. But I'd love to know exactly who people pull. I'll obviously get a spreadsheet going, and I'm very curious. And would it be amazing if we have 100,000 submissions? Of course, there's no chance in heck. But even if we get 50 or we get 80 submissions, then we might see a pattern. You know, if all of a sudden you're seeing 3 people got Hex and 20 people got Absin, I don't know. I'd be very, yeah. Let us know, guys. Help us participate. It will be awesome. So what do we mean by that? Let's hop in the gallery, and we'll talk. I guess we'll start in Northerners because that's a good example, right? So we just got Elder added this past weekend. That was part of this big banner that might have baited some people. And you can see we have now dual Legendaryy Lords. We have the normal one, King Hearts, who can be gotten from normal rare summoning crystals, our normal portals, and now we have Elder, who's only going to be available from ancient summoning. We actually have that in many more of the factions. So maybe let's quickly say, right, it's Watchguard, Nightmare Council, and Star Piercers. We don't have an extra one, right?
Yep.
Am I missing anything else?
No, besides if you want to count Unnameable, it's not having a second Ajax, but for the moment, those, with the Chaos Dominion, obviously, those 4 factions are the ones that are still missing a second Legendary Lord.
So even on Test Server, even on Forerunner, we only have 1 Legendary Lord in that. However, the remaining ones we have not yet talked about have 2. So you saw Elder, who was not the theme of this video, but in those pictures, in that featured picture, I'll throw it back up now, I guess, we have 3 other people. So that is going to be Demi, who is going to be from the Cultists. There she is over there. Then it is going to be Cyrus, who's going to match with Venoma from the Esotericists. And finally, I think this is the one many people will know, Solcadens, who I think at the very... Maybe let's start with Solcadens. What do you say? Because I think at the very least, he should be added this weekend, because it would be crazy for them not to add him this weekend, right?
Yeah, I mean, we all remember Solcadens, the big whale reward for the ultimate trial. Top 3 getting him, still not making an appearance in Guild Boss. What's up with that?
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, so with Solcadens, just to catch people up to speed, maybe you're new to the game, maybe you just missed it. We had that crazy, I'll call it a fiasco, because I think it was a fiasco, with Zila 2 being a top 50 global server reward, like whichever server you're on global, it was a top 50 reward on a summoning event. They called it free, and it was for like the ultimate leaderboard, right? However, maybe you missed it, the top 3 also got Solcadens, and that so far has been the only way to get this guy. But we were actually just chatting before we were filming WoRGuides. They said he's coming soon after, just not on that hero pool. However, we just had Ancient Summons, it's still going on right now. It still has yet to arrive.
Yep, they did say patches, so this being the second patch after him not being there could be interpreted as Solcadens coming for the Ancients.
I really think he should, because I think it's starting to bother people that this guy's only for the supery duperiest whales there are.
Yeah, exactly. Why tease us like that without giving us the chance to even have a chance at him, right? Like, you don't need to raid with him, at least give us a chance, let us hope.
Yeah, don't get it twisted. I'm not gonna get him. How lucky would you have to be? But at least give us a chance, you know. So let's tease everybody a little bit more, and let's look at his kit here. Let's just start with basic talent, work our way down. Or let's start with Lord skill, then we'll do basic attack up to talents. So the Lord skill here, your typical Legendary Lord thing. So Feast of Devastation plus 15% that you always get to faction allies. Then here, these guys are always a bit different, right? Because these are the special ones, the ancient exclusive ones. When Lord Solcadens casts Hellbreak Loose, that is his ultimate, all faction allies gain penetration increase. You can see here, ignoring 30% of defense and magic resistance, crazy, and deals 30% extra damage to elites and bosses for 10 seconds. So to compare this to Twin Fiend, he also gets the penetration increase. However, he doesn't get that 30% extra damage, which is great, and especially for bosses, since Solcadens is going to really shine, as many Infernals do in the guild boss. But Twin Fiend, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, WoRGuides, gives 20% crit rate, 30% crit damage. Solcadens isn't going to give that.
He does give crit rate and crit damage instead of damage to elites and bosses.
Exactly. So here we're getting like a multiplicative kind of damage multiplier, a bit redundant there, as opposed to like a crit addition and crit damage addition. So what do you think of that? You think that's, to me, it feels definitely endgame more potent, right? Because you're gonna have a full build. You don't need the crit rate later on, probably.
Yeah, like the crit rate on Twin Fin is really redundant because no one in their right minds runs the Zilla 2 at 80% crit rate, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
A Saturn, we can talk about it, but even a Saturn is fine because of his own talent. So it's definitely like swapping crit damage for a different kind of multiplier. Obviously, we would need to know like the complete mathematics behind it, the calculations, but it does sound stronger.
Yeah, we don't know the strong math. However, we do know which seems to be, we know the order of the formula, and crit damage is quite at the end. So that's not, and that's still within the formula. This is going to be a post formula, so post calculation, like multiplicative effect, just like a 1.3x multiplier. So without question, I think it's just stronger. You lose the crit rate, but exactly like you said, man, like by the time you pull a Solcadens and you're using him and you're like going for like a 50k or 50k plus blood, you better have 100% crit on your Zila too.
You better.
Yeah. All right, so we got a very interesting A1 here, in my opinion. So we got continuous damage. So this goes up to 100% magic damage. I mean, not so noteworthy. Anything you want to add there, or shall we keep trucking?
Nah, I mean, that's my favorite A1 or basic attack in the entire game, because it's legit not a basic attack, it's a continuous beam. It's just exciting, right?
So do you know what the ticks are, the frequency, or is that determined by attack interval? Or what
it should be determined by the attack speed. Yeah,
okay. So I guess a good time to look at base stats, actually. A nice natural transition. Pretty nice pretty nice base attack for a magic damage dealer. It's solid. It's right in kind of the realm of expectation. Amazing attack interval, like actually amazing. 2 seconds is basically as low as you're gonna expect. And a very
and also the range. Ooh, that's quite high. Yeah. And the range is that typical Vierna range, the OP mage range, right?
Yeah, as opposed to like a Comet where you don't get those 2 in the top corners. That's
Exactly.
great. Yeah, so he's got the Vierna range, he's got the 2-second interval, none of the Vierna penalties where he's gonna not be able to build basic attack to lower that. So you get this. I mean, in endgame build, this guy's gonna be rapid. He's gonna be getting close down to 1 second and 19 Rage Regen autos. That makes me wonder if his Rage Regen attack is
high. Yeah.
That is high, man. That might be the highest in the game. I think. Not counting like a Mana Spring set or some crazy stuff like that, or maybe once Uridan comes and his passive kicks in. I think Autumn has the highest at 18, so 19 is wild. All right, let's go to the passives. Upon inflicting burning, let's check what his burning is. And guys, it is always good to check. There's no duration here. Am I missing something? But yeah, sometimes, like for example, Arrogance's burning is 7 seconds, whereas someone like CO2 is 5 seconds. That's always worth checking.
Because it refers to general burning as long as anything burns, right?
Exactly. So when he puts out a burning, so here we can actually find out what his burning does. So it's a 5-second burning. There we go.
5-second burn, yeah.
So when he has inflicted the burn, now there's a 15% chance, which is going to go up to 20% chance to gain 1 fiery essence, stacking up to 4 times. During the next ultimate, every essence deals 60% extra damage. So if you stack it well enough, it looks like you can get this up to 80 per stack, so that's going to come out to a 320% extra damage. Pretty wacky, especially when he's giving himself all the great buffs he's going to give Infernals during his ultimate. Let's go to the next passive here. Becomes immune to burning damage. That feels strange. After talent inflicts burning on targets, there's a 20% chance to increase the received burning damage by 20%. And I really like the way this reads. I'm going to need your thoughts on this, WoRGuides. So first off, you can get the damage taken increase all the way up to 30%. You can get the trigger chance all the way to 30%. And it doesn't really say burning inflicted by hims, and burning does stack, right?
Exactly. It could be either of the two. Either his burning doing 30% more, or burning received from all sources as like a separate debuff.
Yeah, so if you're running like a Nightmare Infernal team and you've got, you know, maybe some Nightmare units putting out burn it, you got some CO2, and you got him, maybe you got Hex putting out some burning, and now
you
all of those...
put Arrogance in there for the burn too, and ooh, you got yourself a team.
Well, actually, I've done testing. Arrogance does not place burn on guild boss.
Not even with Awakenings?
Oh, maybe with Awakenings. I've only tested it.
Yeah,
there you go.
I believe it's the A3.
This is why we need WoRGuides as like the real late game, end game expert, because I don't even dream of Awakenings on my Arrogance yet. Certainly not A3. Okay, awesome. Let's look at the talent here. Actually, first let's check the ultimate, let's be honest. The talent, no, so we have to look at the talent because the ultimate refers to it. When attacking the same target, basic attack deals increasing damage. Each attack increases damage by 6% for 10 seconds up to 10 times and inflicts burning. Okay, so basically this will max out probably for almost instantly within 10 or 12 seconds for the whole fight in something like Guild Boss, because as long as he's hitting the same target, this guy, we actually chatted about this before, and maybe you should just explain it again. We have people like Twin Fiend and Pyros that are obviously like kings of Guild Boss, but they have like a nice chunk of AoE in their kit. We don't really get that with Solcadens. He clearly is straight up just single target, designed to be a single target god, right?
Especially with that Guild Boss or pretty much boss damage hidden in the Lord buff. It does seem to make him out as that ultimate, the peak to kill the Guild Boss. And I've checked on the site, and it is not actually his A3 for Arrogance. His A3 allows him to do more damage against burning target. Is actually his Demon Bow. So his basic attack, his Demon Bow afflicts burning.
So nice little tangent here. However, his Demon Bow, so this is what I have tested, because when people told me this, I was as surprised as I think you are right now. Because Arrogance has like the best burning in the game, 7-second burning, it's so cool. However, the way it works with Arrogance, he only inflicts burning when he throws his Demon Bow as a boomerang, and he does not do that to Guild Boss, because he's not far enough away. So it actually never works. And I've tested it just Arrogance v Guild Boss in a few different comps, and he can't place it.
Interesting.
But that just shows you how powerful Arrogance is, that he's able to put up those numbers you see, and he's not even doing burning. But your Seal-2s, your Hexes, so on and so on, pretty wild stuff. So let's just finish the ult there now that we have an understanding of the talent. That's just to go back to the talent, actually. Each attack increases damage by 6% for 10 seconds up to 10 times. And these stacks will kind of stagger, right? So you can stack them for a nice chunk of time. if you could get him
and inflict burning, damn.
Yeah, and if you could get him towards that 1 second interval, you get him like 1.1, 1.2. That's not so crazy. This is crazy. So again, he's going to be a bit different than your Pyrus or your Twin Fiend, not just a good Lord skill. And this is kind of what it seems to be the theme as we talk about all these like double Lords, the special ancient only Lords. They're not just cool Lords. A lot of them are just good characters, which is not always the case.
They actually work besides the Lord bonus. Yeah,
so he's just kind of nasty. He's like a top damage dealer. Let's go to the ultimate now. The talent effect increases damage by 10% for 12 seconds instead. Okay, amazing. So instead of 6 per second for 10 seconds, that's gonna be 10% for 12 seconds. Super potent. That can also go up to 11%. Marks one target with the highest HP, so this will be your bosses, your elites, and guild boss. Obviously only one target, it's always going to be guild boss. It's going to mark them for 10 seconds, during of which all heroes will prioritize attack on them. So very similar to Focus Fire here, but you're going to see slightly different. Upon expiring, the mark will explode, so very, very similar. There's your touch of AoE you expect of the Infernals. Also worth mentioning, this is going to... Oh no, so this doesn't increase. It stays at the 10 seconds, and then additionally, when the hero is deployed as a Lord, he gains Pyro Blitz. So this is like the... I think this feels like the juiced up version of a Focus Fire, right?
Have you taken a look at the rage cap and the rage on start?
Oh my god, no, I didn't.
Salazar rage cap.
Oh my god,
and it goes down to 500.
Thank you for directing my attention. Oh my god, that is so 500, and he's already got that 19 rage regen auto. You're gonna get an easy 3-to-1.
Speed to make use of that rage region percentage compared with rage region auto.
This guy
is mad.
This guy is... You will go 3 ults per shield without much effort. That is crazy. And then you've got Pyro Blitz, which is just a better version of Focus Fire. So faction allies join in to channel their thing, channel their energy together to the Lord, just like Focus Fire. Lord gains 70% attack and 80% crit damage attributes just from participating allies. Wild, so it's going to be even more powerful. Damage of this strike increases based on the number of heroes up to 800%. So Twin Fiend and Pyros is up to 700. This guy is up to 800. Furthermore, nearby units will be affected, suffering 100% slash damage. So he is. It's not going to get better than this guy for guild boss.
He's all about buffing himself, accumulating the buff from his talent, accumulating the damage buff from his Lord bonus, getting those stacks, and then even getting attack bonus and crit damage buff from the Pyro Blitz.
It is crazy.
Ridiculous, huh?
Yeah, and 70% attack, and that's going to be like post deployment, right? So that could be scaling off of like 20k attack you build on.
Honestly, you might be able to run him with triple crit damage for like the accessories.
So that's how we can wrap it up. This guy is broken. This guy's gonna be incredibly rare. Even if you were to assume even drop rates among the Legendary Lords from an ancient pool, which you'd probably be crazy to assume even anything in this game. But even if you were, he's still gonna be super rare. You'll only be able to get him from ancients. You'll have to get really, really lucky. So we're gonna kind of have to get really lucky, or maybe count on some of the whales out there that make content to snag this guy, and we can see the kind of numbers that he's gonna put out. Because that's crazy. That's what do you think? Any final thoughts? He's insane.
Honestly, it sounds ridiculous, though there might be some multipliers that interact differently, because we should have seen him on the leaderboards already at this point, no? With a kid like this?
Well, yes. However, I mean, I'm one to always say, like, the mad guys are just going to go spend money and buy everyone. However, those are still 30 guys, and what are the chances the right 3 of them, or they got him from the total leaderboard, and they beat other people out, you know? Not everyone that's going to get top 3 on the entire server is also going to know how to use this guy properly.
I believe, like, at least 1, maybe 2 out of those should be already in the top 100 of Guild Boss. And now the interesting part again, y'all know about Twin Fiend's A1, right? Look at this dude. He has the same problem. That's same amazing. Problem.
So if you really want to be a dreamer, everybody, you can do the Twin Fiend thing and just save your Legendary Soulstone if you ever get one for this guy. You just might be waiting about a decade. Anyway, shall we move on? What do you want to do next, Demi or Cyrus?
Ooh, I don't know. I really like the concept of Cyrus.
Let's do it then. Awesome. And then we'll save the beautiful Demi for the end. All right. So Cyrus, guys, he is going to be a new Esotericist Lord, just like Venoma. But I've given this kid a peek, and he's going to be a lot better as an actual hero than Venoma. But let's begin up with the Lord skill. I'll lead you through it, then I'll get your thoughts, WoRGuides. So it's typical thing, 15%. You expect that from all Legendary Lords. This is the Esoteric Synergy 3. Reduces faction allies' skill costs by 25%, so exactly the same as Venoma. When an ally is defeated or retreats, so now it gets different, and this is crazy. Increases the damage of other faction allies by 25% for 8 seconds. This effect can be triggered 1 time every 12 seconds. So this guy is making you have a whole it's with damage, not with rage, but he's giving you a whole team of laurels, right?
Yeah, like the unit that first comes to mind, obviously, for allies defeated or retreats is obviously Laurel, giving the 50% rage on retreat. But there's another part hidden in his kit, so we should probably come back to this after we've talked about his kit to understand why there's that focus on retreating allies.
Awesome. Okay.
Or even defeating allies.
I love that. So let's work our way down. I think I already know what you're talking about, but here we go. We got a bit of AoE on the A1. Says multiple enemies. That's a bit discouraging to see. It seemed like with the newer heroes, they were actually starting to tell us the number of enemies. So I hope maybe this is still the test server, right? So maybe if you're watching, devs, you still have time to change it. Tell us if it's 5 or 7 or 10, please. I hate vague things. I need specifics. So 120%, solid. Let's go to the passive. 40% of incoming damage will be absorbed by the hero summons. So now we're kind of getting towards what you're saying. We're just gonna have to rush through this just to get to the good part here.
Yep.
40% are going to deal with this hero summons. He's a summoner hero, and unlike someone like they called Kriya a summoner hero, right? Because she summons crows, but that's more aesthetic. He actually summons beings, kind of like the way Eloin has her wood elf. So we'll get to that. When the hero receives fatal damage, one of the summons will be sacrificed to reduce the damage. Very cool. This can go up to 60%. And now, when the hero's HP, when the HP of hero summons is below 50%, increases its attack speed by 60, damage by 30%. We got to get to the summons part. Here we go. So it's combines with the talent. So here you can see with the ultimate Legion of Dead, again, dirt cheap, right? 550 costs with a 300 initial cost. Really cool. So he's going to summon 1 skeleton fighter within 2 tiles ahead. So it's a proper summon. This is someone that's existing in battle and having a proper effect. Increases their and the hero's damage by 100% and the attack speed by 60 for 10 seconds. The damage is going to go up to 150%. The attack speed bonus is going to go up to 100. And then you get the skill costs down. And you can also see on the talent here, immediately will summon a skeleton warrior within 2 tiles ahead when deployed. So this is what we're talking about, right? Because they still count towards that. If I'm not mistaken, they still will count towards that effect from the Lord skill, right?
And looking at that small video, you've seen him shoot out a wave, right? A wave of attacking, and it is pretty much similar to Valkyra's wave. And I've checked Valkyra's kit, and it also says multiple enemies on Valkyra's kit. So they might not change it at all and keep it a mystery. We maybe need to test how many targets Valkyra can hit to lift that one.
The thing with Valkyra, though, is she's such an old hero. She's like the OG hero, right? I was thinking, all right, they're not going to get around to changing her. But yeah, it's a good point. But yeah, so he's going to summon these skeleton fighters. A summoned unit that possesses a few of the summoner's hero's attributes, able to attack and block one enemy. One thing I don't actually know reading this, and I'd be curious if you know, is it max out at 1, or can he summon multiple? Do you know?
He should be able to have a skeleton warrior and a skeleton, like there's different names for the skeleton warrior and different names, like skeleton warrior and fighter. He should be able to have both of them on the field.
I presume the way it's going to work is they say it's going to be one of the 2 tiles, so probably one goes in one tile, one goes in the next, kind of like what we're seeing here. You can see that's probably the warrior in front, the blast ends, and now he's going to get another guy in front, right?
Yeah. And again, they might even do something crazy with his range, right? Because what is up with the range this time again? Like, look at this. We have a 4-tile range on a tank.
Very Valkyra.
So, yeah.
So it's cool. We're going to... Hopefully, we have like a nice, proper damage-dealing tank here. Let's check out those base stats. Assuming they're pretty nutty. Attack's pretty solid. Defense is low, but he isn't... They don't say anything about his damage being based on defense, so not the end of the world. HP is super high. If we go there, the attack interval is very unique, 2.5 seconds. I think it was, I want to say Kineza is also 2.5 seconds. This is a very rare attack interval. But yeah, and then your standard 14 rage regen auto. Overall, I think he's gonna be really cool. He's super unique, and I love that he's like a proper summoner, not even like someone like Eloin where you have to do a deploy yourself. He's just gonna do them, upon entry and then upon the ultimate. I really like it. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he looks majestic, he looks cool, and he has a unique kit. What more can you ask for a hero?
Truly.
It just makes him special.
just because I couldn't agree more, and then I just had to see. Not that I'm getting A1. Many of us probably won't be getting A1 Cyrus, but look at that. So I do think he can actually stack up. My guess is he can max out these 4 tiles in front of him. This is my presumption.
Potentially.
We will have to see. But you can see, so he gets 1 warrior upon deployment, then he does a fighter whenever he does his ult, and then you're seeing here, when summoning a fighter, he can do another warrior, right? Yeah, you can see him filling up. Maybe 2 ults, then you trigger on that A1. Maybe you got 4 little guys hanging out. You can really operate with those tiles. If we pull up that animation again, he has that 4 tile range. If people are placed in front and dying or retreating, right? Then you're giving big damage boosts. Comet going crazy.
See, there we have 2 skeleton soldiers, so it's at least 2. He can at least have 2 at the same time.
At least 2. Very good to know. And then I do want to check one more thing, actually. Yeah, so the damage increase is only for faction allies. I was just curious, because something that's overlooked with Venoma, because I think people underrate her, is the initial rage she gives, the boost, is not just faction allies, it's everyone, and that's something that definitely makes her unique. All right, should we wrap this thing up with Demi here?
Yes, sir.
All right, Demi. So she's no Mommy Morgan, but she's pretty cool. She's got her little bongo drum here or whatever. So she's also going to be a cultist lord. I just spoke with Arcturus before we were filming, because he's used her, and he said she's cool but a bit niche. So I actually never looked at her kit. So this is going to be. Have you checked her out before, WoRGuides?
I have a general understanding, but can't recall specifics pretty much.
Sweet. So we'll have decently fresh eyes, and I'll defer to you when we need a really hot take on it. Let's start with the Lord skill. We'll see how it compares to Morgan. That's obviously a Lord skill I know pretty well. So here we go. This part looks the same. Increases faction allies damage dealt to enemies inflicted with stun, freeze, immobilize, blah, 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 30%. That's what you'd expect. Now here's for the difference. So for Morgan is just a straight up 25% increase to AoE damage for cultists. Here it looks like it's a bit more complex. When faction allies kill an enemy, increases their damage by 12% for 5 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. So if you're using like a Virna or even like an Iona, like someone with some big greed, anyone with some big damage, instead of getting that 25% from Morgan, this is going to look a lot like 36%. It seems like that'd be pretty easy to manage in a Gear Raid 1 situation, something with a lot of mobs. You're making a face.
Nah, it does feel like, you know, mostly the mobs always die around the same time. It feels like she's peaking when everything's already kind of dead, you know?
That's true, but I can also think of, like, if you're thinking of those red globby guys, the ooze guys that come down, they're a bit tankier, but maybe you pick off a couple of the leftover aura guys, you know? It might be the boost you need.
Yeah, by no means it's a worse boost, right? Like, it's definitely an interesting one, but might come out a bit short compared to a straight up 25% permanent bonus.
It'd be interesting to compare it for sure. I also think it's pretty interesting, regardless if this is better or worse than Morgan or close or not. This is definitely far more underwhelming to me than what Cyrus and certainly what Solcadens had going on in their improvement to Lord skill, right?
It feels like the same thing, but just with a different way of getting there.
A different condition, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Because if you're only getting 2, right, then that's 24%. How does that compare to 25%? About 1% difference. All right, so let's see. Is she going to be some big AoE lady? Looks like it. She's a mage. She's a magic damage dealer. She's going to inflict slow upon 6 enemies, and that can go up to 10 enemies. It looks like there's no damage.
I don't know about the damage dealer part.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know about damage dealer, but an AoE
unit.
Let's see. 2 second slow is okay. Only 50%. You don't love to see it, especially on a Legendary Lord. I'd love to see 75. However, maybe a basic attack 10 multi-target hitter slow would be OP. I don't know. I'll be honest, I love Morgan, but Morgan is not the best damage dealer. I wouldn't mind if Morgan had something like this to just keep like crazy constant uptime, multi-target with a crowd control effect. Let's go to the passive here. Waltz of Doom. During Elegy Ruin, this must be the ult, yes, we'll go back to that second. Every time an enemy in basic attack range dies, increases attack speed by 14, stacking up to 5 times. You can get this up to, let's see, per stack, we can get this up to 20, and it can stack, instead of 5 times, except 10 times. So now we're talking, what, 200 more attack speed? So that the sense I'm getting already, let's check her interval. They want her to go lightning quick and just endlessly spam slow. Look at that, 2.2 interval. If I'm not mistaken, that's the first 2.2 interval in the game, or definitely the first one I've seen.
It is fairly high and kind of weird, yeah.
Very weird. It's just bizarre. We'll have to get new numbers on that for our attack interval chart. But yeah, you can see, so they want her going quick. It seems like they want her spamming out some slows. Unclear if she's dealing any damage at all with that basic attack, but lots of slows.
She doesn't seem to be doing any damage, like, at all. She only slows. She seems to be a debuff monster kind of deal, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she seems like a crowd control spammer beast. We have to go to the talent now because they're talking about invisibility, and that's how you gain it. So she permanently gains invisibility, but reduces max HP by 30% during battle. Additionally, gains specialized attack speed. So we just had Falcia, she has that. We just had, of course, well, we've had Voroth, he has that. Basically, the amount of attack speed it takes to lower your attack interval is far less. So even though she's 2.7, you're going to get this girl down towards 1 second, especially once all this other starts.
Easily, and especially if we now look at her kit and she doesn't actually do damage. Let me give a realistic estimate, especially with her talent. You could honestly go down to 0.6 seconds. Like 0.7, 0.6 seconds are... Yeah, you can go to 0.6 or 0.7. Honestly, it shouldn't even be that hard.
Let's actually quickly compare. Let's go to Falcia and check what her base speed is. I'm not coming to the top of my head. Is she 2.6? Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's actually quite interesting. Yeah. So Falcia, I've seen people get Falcia down to like 0.7, 0.6, right? So yeah, you'll definitely sub 1. Let's just say that, even without a good build, which is pretty wild.
Yeah, sub 1 should be easy, and at the end of min-maxing, if you stack her talent, honestly, 0.5 is reachable.
That'd be wild.
Technically.
That'd be rad. All right, so yeah, so she's going to gain invisibility and reduces her max HP, and she's got that specialized attack interval. This girl is going to be rapid. So now that we know she has invisibility, so when she is invisible, it's going to reduce damage taken by 15%. Strange stuff going on here, right? Her count reduces when she's invisible. It reduces her max HP, but when she is invisible, she takes less damage. A lot of little conditions going on there. Probably it's a wash in the end. We'd have to see. And then during the ultimate, the Elegy of Ruin, each time the hero attacks, restores 3% HP. So she's actually going to be an absolute tank when she's invisible. So how does she lose her invisible? That is going to come with the ultimate. Shout out to like Alora or Vargas, pretty similar, right? Removes invisibility temporarily.
And there we have the damage part, eh? Can't leave that one out.
Here we go. Removes invisibility temporarily and plays the Elegy of Ruin. Elegy, I don't know. Basic attacks deal 170% damage to at most 10 targets, so a big AoE, inflict slow. This better be a big boy slow. No, it's the same as normal slow, and anti-healing. So 100% anti-healing, 2 seconds. That is, so she's going to be an absolute goddess in Gear Raid 1. I'm curious where else she'd have a big use, but that's crazy.
I don't... it might be, honestly, it might be worse than a straight up Lazier, because Lazier gives like, gives that 15-second, and I don't think he has like a target limit, right? He just does his AoE and everyone gets it, and this is at most 10 enemies.
That's
and also needs to
I wouldn't be surprised
stacked.
if Lazier has a target limit and we don't know about it, because I don't know if anyone has unlimited targets ever since the whole Lightlock thing and the quote-unquote nerf for rework. But I will say, I do think she's going to trigger far more often than Lazier. This is only 1,000 costs, and she, like you said, if she's at a 0.5, 0.7, 0.9% attack interval, Lazier is not getting anywhere near that. You can imagine how quickly she could be cycling through this, and she's getting a little boost every time she's hitting that AoE off the basic attack. So I really think she's going to be popping this ult constantly. And talking about damage, 270% is really nothing to sneeze at when it's just a rapid, constant multi-hitter, right? She seems specific, but she seems really good. She seems like a total Gear Raid 1 goddess. What do you think?
It did say her basic attack starts dealing 270%, right? And if we assume this ultimate going for 15 seconds at a 0.5 interval, yeah.
That's pretty nutty, right? Let's just call it a 1 second interval, because I think people can totally get that, right? So she's going to do a 10 target, 270% damage, so 2,700% total damage spread around over 15 seconds. Let's do some quick math here. So what is that, 4,050% damage? I mean, that's freaking something, and that could be the burst you need to push over the edge. She does read better than Morrigan, I'm going to be honest, especially because she has so much CC built in, and even when she starts dealing the damage, you still have the slow over there. All in all, I definitely see what Arcturus was saying. She feels niche, but I actually think she's really cool. She doesn't look as cool as Morrigan, but she does look really cool as well. I think she seems... These are going to be very rare, but very powerful heroes,
Yeah,
right?
very rare, but again, an interesting kit. And we just have it today, right? It's again the time of the weird ranges. She has Dolores range as a mage. We just have it today with the ranges, huh?
I'm curious if this changes actually when we go... No, okay, so it stays the same even with promos if you max level her. Let's just check. The attack is like kind of fine. It's not so low, but it's certainly not high. It's right in that like low mid 4,000 range you might expect out of a magic damage dealer. The attack interval is obviously very wacky.
Magic res is unreasonably high at 2,000.
That's true. Yeah. She's definitely going to be little voice crack there. She's definitely going to be tanky. Especially when she's invisible and she's getting that kind of that mitigation with the HP restoration. I don't know how much you need to do that, but you know what it is, maybe? You know what I'm realizing right now? You could run her on the other platform so she doesn't need a healer. That might be
exactly
the move with her.
that she just stays by herself.
Thinking for late game gear raid 1. She seems pretty awesome. She really does. So pretty cool stuff there. We might as well peek that A1. We'll leave all the rest a mystery. One invisible restores 5% max HP per second. All right, so far less exciting than the other two guys in terms of that. But wow. How do we want to conclude this? Any final thoughts for you?
Honestly, if you pull on the Ancients and you get any one of these, I mean, there's no way that you're not happy. You have 3 heroes with 3 different unique kits, with 3 different types of synergies in between. It's, yeah, the heroes are rare, and I don't know, y'all are blessed if you do happen to get them.
I think that's a nice way to put it. I also do think some issue. You guys, obviously, I love the game, and obviously you love the game. But an issue I've had is we don't have as many debuffs and as many other kind of things as we do in other games. But these kind of more complex kits add a lot of interesting conditions and a lot of other ways to solve the puzzle and a lot of things to consider. I really enjoy it. I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I guess my parting wisdom would be, yeah, if you guys get lucky to get them, that's awesome. But don't be upset if you don't get them, because these guys are going to be so rare, and I'd really be shocked if like Demi's going to have the same rate from an Ancient Summon as Morgan, right? And that you know, Elder is the same as King Hearts, and Cyrus is the same as Venoma. It's not going to happen like that realistically. So count your blessings and be very happy if you get them. Otherwise, I think we're good here, man. Thank you so much for joining me, and everyone go check out WoRGuides' stuff. He's the real deal now. Not that he wasn't before, but now just content left and right, so you're not going to want to miss out on it. Thank you so much, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, guys, if you want to like the video, like it. Get in the comments, let us know what you think. Are we being crazy to speculate, or do you think we're correct? Share with your mother. I've been Fastidious. That's been WoRGuides. We'll see you in the next one. Do you want to quickly just say bye or something, just so I can cut it into the end?
Bye-bye.
Maybe I'll leave it with me saying, hey, you want to just say bye so I can get...
Yeah, sure. Keep it like that, man. Keep it real.
All right, thanks so much.
Fastidious.